Hi everybody, my name is Sukaja. Welcome back to my booktube channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the books that I read in the month of August. So I read 3 books in August. I might not have posted a lot of videos in August, but I was catching up on reading. Thank you for your patience and for hanging on to the channel even though there was a hiatus and I didn't really post videos. But I'm back now. I expect to see more videos in the near future. Going back to the 3 books I read in August, I think I've read from 3 different genres, and the first one is Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Philyaw. So this is a book that has been doing the round on Instagram as well as on YouTube. It's a very hyped book and it is a collection of short stories. I haven't read a lot of short stories in this year, so this is probably the first collection that I picked up. However, I have to say that this kind of disappointed me because the stories in this book didn't stick as much as, say, the stories in The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I think that is by far one of my favorite short story collections. This is a book that deals with the Black community, mainly women who have some association to the church or other subsect of Black women basically, and their lives, how that pans out, how it is in the present day. I think there were a lot of stories, but nothing really very poignant or memorable in this collection. There are stories about, say, the LGBTQIA community and things like that. And there was one story I think that I particularly enjoyed. It was about peach cobbler, which is a traditional dish made by people in the community. And it's about this girl. Most of the women in the stories come from broken families without male figures, families where there are issues going on and they didn't have a normal upbringing, or they were deprived, they didn't have enough money, or they didn't have the love of their mother, things like that. There are stories of estrangement, like women leaving home in search of home. What is home? Is it another person? Things like that. So that's what this book largely deals with. I love the peach cobbler story, and for most part all the stories in this book are written really well, so you do feel like you get into it immediately, and like it is nice to read, but I didn't find it very memorable on the whole, I would say. So I would advise not being too enamored by the different posts going online about how amazing this book is. See for yourself, of course, and then have an opinion. This is where I stand. So that was The Secret Life of Church Ladies by Disha Philyaw. Now the other book I read was After I Do by Jenkins Reid. So I was in the mood for a contemporary kind of romance, kind of light read, nothing too heavy on the reading palette. So I decided to pick up After I Do by Jenkins Reid. Now, if you watch my channel, you know that I enjoyed reading Jenkins Reid's The 700 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I recently read last month, and that was just a brilliant book. I rated it 5 stars, and then I decided I gotta pick more of what this author has written, and so I picked After I Do. Now the premise of this, it's mainly about a couple that has been together since high school. They've known each other for the longest time. They fell in love and got married. They've been living life in the same way for a good number of years, maybe a decade or so. And they've come to this point where they feel stagnated and they need to think about, what is the reason for them to feel this way. So they decide to kind of try out something different, something unconventional, where they want to just move apart for some time and spend some time away from each other, but not officially make that a separation. So they take some time back to kind of reflect on their lives and see who they are outside of the relationship. That's what this book is about. It's about self-exploration. It's about marriage. It's about companionship, and nothing very heavy. It's very light, I would say. And I thoroughly enjoyed just being a spectator for this couple. Obviously want to know how they solve for it, which they do in the end, and I was quite satisfied with the ending, to be honest. And I think this could be made into a movie. I feel like that would be something interesting to watch. Those are my thoughts on After I Do. I don't regret picking this up. I would rate this maybe 3 out of 5 stars. The final book that I read in August is by far the best book of the lot, and it could possibly be one of my favorite books of 2022. And I might even say that it beats Evelyn Hugo's The 7 Husbands, right? Which means this book is really good. And this is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. Now, historical fiction fans, if you're watching, if you haven't read this book, what are you even doing? please drop everything and go order yourself a copy. Also, I recommend getting this copy with blue inked edges. This is an essential copy and it's definitely a very essential piece for your bookshelf. I'll tell you why. This book is a story of two girls. One is Maud and the other is Susan. And their lives are very different. They live in totally different parallel universes. And these universes end up colliding, and that's the exciting part. So this is kind of, you say, the Prince and the Pauper inspired or Oliver Twist inspired. It definitely has those elements in it. There's an allusion to Oliver Twist in the very beginning of the book that really struck me as very interesting, because I think the first classic that I had insight into was Oliver Twist, because I had the pleasure of watching the play being performed in school when I was only 11, and the story really stuck. So there are very, very intriguing characters, well-rounded characters, villainous characters and innocent characters, and this is a story that is as plot-driven as it is character-driven, and therefore it's a fantastic read. It is an absolute page-turner. You will just sift through pages. It is extremely atmospheric and it takes you back to Victorian England. It showcases the hardships that women faced, not only because they were women, but also because they were poor and didn't have any station in society, didn't have access to education. And London, the streets of London, how rough it is to be a thief and live among thieves in London. So Susan is the child who was brought up by thieves. And then we have Maud Lily, who is a person who's living in privilege, born into privilege, but is living in a secluded place with her uncle. We don't know much about her background and history. She herself is quite distant from it. Susan is quite rough and rugged because she's lived on the streets all her life. And then suddenly she has to go and meet this girl and be a lady's maid to her. There's a bit of lesbian love in this as well, but at the same time, it's not about their relationship so much as it is about a lot of other things. It is a well-researched book. It deals with Victorian pornography. There is a lot of allusions to real works that were a big deal back in the day, and the whole underground scene and how there was trading done and how these books were published and how the business ran, you know, like through the alleys, and how certain individuals would kind of promote the sales of such literature. It's a very intriguing book, and I believe there is also a Netflix adaptation out there. I haven't yet gotten to watch that. I really enjoyed reading this, and if you liked any other books set in Victorian England, you will love this. If you are a sucker for historical fiction, you will enjoy this. I wouldn't say it's too detailed at all. In fact, each word and each phrase was put in there very carefully, I would say. It's very well-rounded, a very complete story, and I really enjoyed the way it ends as well. I was quite satisfied. And this is the kind of book I was waiting for all year long. So Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, I definitely want to pick up her other books. I do plan to read more of her backlist. If you've read any other Sarah Waters book and you would have a recommendation for me, please leave it in the comments down below. So that brings us to an end with the 3 books I read in August. I would love to hear what you've been reading. As always, if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and supporting me, and also giving this video a thumbs up or a like. So have a great reading week. I will be back with another bookish video soon. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sane. Bye.